Cognitive therapy. Introduction. Cognitive therapy is a relatively short-term psychotherapy that is related and based on the cognitive model. The way that an individual perceives a situation is more closely connected to their reaction than the situation itself. Key component is that the clinician and patient work collaboratively to develop skills for modifying beliefs, identifying distorted thinking, and changing behaviors. The purpose is to teach people to identify, evaluate, and modify their own dysfunctional thoughts and beliefs. Principles of cognitive therapy. Cognitive therapy is based on the finding that changes in thinking lead to changes in feeling and acting. Treatment requires a sound and collaborative therapeutic alliance. Treatment is generally short-term, problem-focused, and goal-oriented. Cognitive therapy is an active and structured approach to treatment. It focuses on the present, although attention is paid to the past when indicated. Careful assessment, diagnosis, and treatment planning are essential. Cognitive therapy uses a broad range of strategies and interventions to help people evaluate and change their cognitions. Inductive reasoning and Socratic questioning are particularly important strategies. This is a psychoeducational model that promotes emotional health and prevents relapse by teaching people to identify, evaluate, and modify their own cognitions. Task assignments, follow-up, and client feedback are important in ensuring the success of this approach. There are 4 cognition levels. The first is automatic thoughts, the stream of cognitions that constantly flow through our minds. Automatic thoughts mediate between a situation and an emotion. Intermediate beliefs often reflect extreme and absolute rules and attitudes that shape people's automatic thoughts. Core beliefs are central ideas about ourselves that underlie many of our automatic cognitions and usually are reflected in our intermediate beliefs. Core beliefs typically stem from childhood experiences but are not necessarily true and can be identified and modified. Schemas have been defined as a hypothesized mental structure that organizes information that encompass the core beliefs. Cognitive therapy operates at several levels, seeking to elicit and change people's symptoms as well as their automatic thoughts, intermediate beliefs, core cognitions, and underlying schemas. The clinician's job is to help the client develop the skills they need to monitor, access, and respond to their own cognitions, as well as lead their lives more successfully. There are 10 procedures that a clinician usually follows for an initial session. The first is to establish an agenda that is meaningful to the client. Number 2, determine and measure the intensity of the person's mood. Number 3, identify and review presenting problems. Number 4, elicit the person's expectations for treatment. Number 5, educate the person about cognitive therapy and the role of the client. Number 6, provide information about the person's difficulties and diagnosis. Number 7, establish goals. Number 8, recommend tasks and homework between sessions. Number 9, summarize the session. Number 10, obtain the client's feedback on the session. Cognitive therapy requires a sound therapeutic alliance. The therapist must be active, collaborative, goal-oriented, as well as problem-focused. There are 4 stages of guided discovery. Cognitive therapists use Socratic questioning to lead clients through a guided discovery. They do so by asking questions that clients can answer, focusing the client's attention on information that is relevant but that they may not be aware of, and moving from the concrete to the abstract. The client is guided toward new thoughts and ideas from which they can formulate their own conclusion. The 4 steps of guided discovery are Socratic questioning to elicit clients' concerns, active listening for clarification, inconsistencies, and emotional reactions. Number 3, summarization to provide feedback and enhance clarification. And number 4, synthesis or analytic questions that pull all of the information together along with the client's original concern and pose an analytic question. Eliciting and rating cognitions, the situation that elicited the thoughts and its accompanying physical response. Number 2, the date and time of the situation. Number 3, automatic thoughts and extent of belief in those thoughts, rated on a 0% to 100% scale. Number 4, emotions and their intensity, rated on a 0% to 100% scale. Number 5, nature of distortion and ways of modifying the thoughts. And number 6, outcome including revised beliefs, rating of automatic and revised thoughts, and current emotions and intensity ratings and new actions. Determining the validity of cognitions. After the cognitions have been elicited and placed in context, people can assess their validity. It is especially important for clinicians to use guided discovery through the use of skillful questioning and experiments to help people test the reality of their thoughts. Approaches that cognitive therapists use to help evaluate the validity of their patients' cognitions include asking their clients how another person whom they respect would think about the situation, asking them what they would do if their child or friend had the thoughts that they have, using humor or exaggeration to take an idea to its extreme, or helping people recognize their tendency to think negatively. Modifying cognitions. Clinicians work closely with clients to restructure their cognitions and help them find words to express their new cognitions accurately, realistically, and in ways that are compatible with their emotions. This process involves helping people deepen their beliefs and their revised cognitions and make those cognitions part of themselves. For example, self talk is a technique in which people repeat to themselves many times a day positive, encouraging phrases that they have identified as helpful, such as don't let fear control you. You can do it. In essence, they're giving themselves a pep talk. Cognitive rehearsal is a strategy in which people mentally rehearse a new behavior and then create a cognitive model of themselves successfully performing that behavior. Some athletes use this technique to improve their skills in their sport. A woman married to a verbally abusive husband used this approach to rehearse asserting herself to her husband, making it then easier for her to stand up to him when he spoke to her in a demeaning way. A variation of this is for people to imagine themselves as someone they admire and then tackle a challenging situation as if they were that person. Thank you for coming in today, Mr. Harris. My secretary, Jenna, said that she wanted to schedule sessions. Meet Dr. Abdallah, by the way. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So how are you doing today? I just want to get stuff started by getting to know you. So what's going on?
Days are usually rough like today. Just involving work, social life, that kind of stuff. So a little bit of a rough day.
Oh, I get. Oh, well, so what do you do then?
For a living, I work for Spotify as artist and fan development base, mainly working with artists and connecting them to their fan base. Just working a lot with their music, stories, and expanding that with their fans. Just making sure they're on point with their fans.
So you're in the entertainment industry.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would you study in college, if you don't mind me asking?
Stratcom in journalism, also a minor in public relations.
Oh, okay. So how do you feel about your job? You like it? You enjoy it? Is it
Love
stressful?
Every job is stressful, but I love the job. I love the music industry. It's a very great field, so I encourage everyone to join it as well. So.
Cool. So where did you grow up?
Born in Arkansas, Little Rock, and then raised in Chicago, Illinois, and then moved to the suburbs. So mainly that's my background. Raised in the Midwest area. So.
So what are your family dynamics like? Did you live in a two-parent household? Stay with mom and dad?
Yes, two-parent household. Actually, extremely big family. Only child as well, but I have two stepsisters as well. So that's kind of an extended family as well, kind of. So.
You have two steps. Okay, so your father got remarried.
Yes.
Oh, so how was that for you as a child?
Never really affected by it. Wasn't really concerned with that, just because both my parents are actually remarried as well. One just my father had kids. But other than that, it really doesn't affect me at all.
Okay, well that's good. So your mother's remarried. How long has she been remarried now?
My parents were married for about 26 years before they got divorced. So.
Wow, they put in some years there.
Yes. So.
Interesting. So you said you have two stepsisters. They've never lived in the same space as you at all?
I was never raised with both my sisters. I just met them probably when I was at the age around that time of middle school. Well, not middle school, but elementary school. Kind of that time where you start memorizing things. So.
Oh, so you got the feeling of being a big brother. I'm sure there's a little bit of a responsibility.
Never really big brother. Though I'm the youngest, so it's kind of hard to be. I'm kind of the baby of the family, the innocent child, basically in their eyes. So.
So what's your social life like? You mentioned that you're in the entertainment industry. I'd assume that you go to a few parties here and there.
Yes, that's always
like
the main topic with being the industry that I work in. But mainly working with a lot of big artists like Drake, Jay-Z, your social life is really a lot of what they see on TV, partying and stuff like that. But there is a lot of hard work goes into the industry with paperwork, with distribution, labeling, and the whole 9 yards with that. So it's a lot.
So do you have any close friends? Do you have a roommate that you live with? Anything like that?
Girlfriend, but we live separately. Live by myself. Upper New York, so nice little cozy place for myself.
Upstate New York, that's nice. It's nice to get out of the city. So.
Even last week, I just got back in town from my friend Gerald's wedding he had last week downtown Florida. So it was a good opportunity to go down there and see my old guy from college. Just talk
That's
reminisce.
That's crazy. My best friend in college, his name was Gerald. It's a common name. Gerald's are good guys. They are. I swear, I tell you.
They're all over the world.
So okay. So you have a girlfriend? I know you mentioned Gerald, but what about your?
Yes, her name's Angela.
Her name's Angela.
Yes.
Okay, that's funny. That's my mom's name. Except with these similarities, they're crazy.
Small world.
Small world. How'd you guys meet?
We met. I was actually out, get some coffee on break from work. Just doing some work as paperwork, anything. But in there, young lady needing some extra change, so I just went out and gave her some extra change, better, and then kind of ended up sitting down talking, and then basically asked to go out sometime, just casual conversation, casual dating.
So you pursued her.
Yes.
Interesting. That's great. That's nice to know. So how long have you and Angela been together?
We've been together for about 4 months now. So
4 months.
Yes.
Okay. Is that how would this fare compared to your other relationships? Is this a pretty long one? Kind of short, just getting started?
I would say just getting started. We definitely moved pretty quickly. I'll say, but we both enjoyed how we are with each other. So it's been pretty well so far.
Okay. So you mentioned that you moved a little bit quickly. What makes you feel that way?
Of course, that usually first time meeting someone and just getting to know who they are, and butterfly stage and that little bit of a honeymoon stage is basically at that time. So I feel like we just left the honeymoon stage, starting to little bumps and bumps roads in the relationship kind of thing. But that happens with everyone.
So would you say that you're happy?
I would say I am. Yeah.
Is there anything that you might be unhappy with?
I mean, there's some things that, all of us as people, have pet peeves with or have, a little bit of problems with that we all deal with in relationships. So there are some things we do have.
Interesting. So I remember when we were talking about work and I asked you how work felt, you mentioned that, it's stressful. Everybody's job can be stressful sometimes. But what I want you to try to do as we begin this therapy sessions together is try to tap into how you feel. So are there any specific things that you're unhappy about in your relationship that we could bring to your conscious mind?
Angela, she's been acting a little bit different. Like usually, when that your significant other, you kind of have a feeling when something's wrong with them. And last week I'll say, something was odd. She came home acting a little bit weird. Wasn't really talking as talkative much with people in the house. So it just gave me a vibe like something's wrong in my eyes.
So because she changed her behavior and she wasn't as talkative, that gave you the feeling that
she wasn't
was
smiling, and she wasn't as cheerful as she usually was, and it just would caught me off guard.
That's understandable, especially when someone's mood changes. It makes us wonder, makes us inquisitive. So how did you react to the change that you saw in Angela?
Usually, if I catch her like that in that kind of, attitude and behavior, usually I'll give her space because, that's what everyone usually wants to be, feeling alone, just want to have the personal space. So, I, greeted her, made sure she was okay in the house, made sure she was cool in the bed, left her some space, without hang out with roommate for a little bit, just talking. But I had a feeling like, excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That
take your time.
Basically, I needed to go say something, and me as a person, I need to go say something to make sure communication is a huge factor in a relationship. So
Absolutely.
I opened up the lines of communication, like, hey, what's wrong? I feel like something's wrong with you. What's going on with you? And it didn't feel right, like we were talking.
So, what exactly do you mean by it didn't feel right? Was there a disconnect?
Basically, it was a disconnect. Basically, like, I was trying, I'm the type of person I want to solve the problem as a unit, as a team, and progressively, build past that. And we was trying to talk. She was like half asleep. She had a long day of classes and work. And I understand that responsibilities come first. It was just like she didn't have the energy to talk about anything with me. So it was a lot of disconnect. I felt like, okay, well, you want me here, but you don't want me here. So like you feel alone even though you're not alone. If you get what I'm saying.
I understand. Action. So I hear you talking about you and your girlfriend having problems, but you're not really being specific. What was the nitty gritty of the situation? Talk to me about that. What was really the problem that was going on there with you and her?
Well, basically, we had a conversation. Found out the weekend where I was gone away for my college friend's Gerald for his wedding. I found out basically during that weekend she slept with one of my coworkers. And
how did that make you feel?
Like I wasn't worth anything, useless. Felt like what we had was meaningless. Time was wasted. I blew up pretty high on her, cursed her out, said some very inappropriate things. Broke some things in the house, so I did act pretty violent about the situation. I feel like I should have.
You felt like you should have?
Yes.
And why did you feel that way?
Because she disrespected not only me, but all relationship, and just as a person, that's not what you do in a relationship. So I felt pretty angry about that.
And so I heard you say that her actions made you feel worthless, and you felt disrespected. You felt like she had disrespected your relationship. How strongly did you feel about that? If you had to rate that from 0% to 100%, what would your belief rating in that feeling that you had be?
My belief in the feeling of
that you had, and the feeling of betrayal, and the feeling of hopelessness, because
it was 90, almost 100%, just because finally met someone that was pretty, that understood me, and we got along so well, and it was the what we had was, to say, picture perfect, but for her to do this is out of character, and it's just strange, why she would do this. And I understand, with my job, I could probably show some neglect somewhere on some back ends of my social life and personal life, so I do apologize for that. I try to make up, but what she did was unacceptable.
Okay, so Mr. Harris, let me ask you this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a boss at work. Everybody has a boss. Even I have a boss, and I'm in my own private practice, right?
Of course.
So your boss comes in one day from work. He had a really hard night. He just found out that his wife wants to divorce him, and he walks in and he's cursing everybody out. He comes into your office. He walks out. He slams your door. How do you feel about his actions?
It's inappropriate. It's not for the workplace. In front of other coworkers. Something like that kind of energy is supposed to be, put into something different, or something a little bit more positive, or something that's not going to be as effective or disrespectful or inappropriate for any setting.
Right. So even though he was going through those emotions at home, you don't feel like it was appropriate for him to display his emotions or reactions to what his wife said at work.
Yes, his actions should have not been displaced in the workplace, but we all make mistakes in life. We're all people. We all have emotions. Sometimes we just have to let it out, and he had to let it out at work in front of everybody. So
I understand. So how do you feel about how you handled the situation with Angela? Do you feel like you could have responded in a better way? Do you feel like the way that you responded was validated by your feelings?
Good question. My actions and how I responded was overboard, and I shouldn't have escalated and disrespected her just because of something that she did towards us. And being a Christian man, I'm supposed to be able to forgive that person, not for them, but for myself. And I should have handled that a lot better. I should have definitely corrected myself, but still held myself accountable for how I did act on certain things. What she did is just cheated on me. Like
she did cheat on you, and I completely understand that. But you also have to remember that her actions aren't necessarily because of something that you're doing. Her actions could just be based on how she feels. So don't blame yourself for what she did.
I guess it was just like, with my job is a lot of traveling. Like usually during the week, I'm barely home, maybe 3 nights out of the week. So it's just like, I'm flying from New York to LA to Atlanta. It's just like I don't have a lot of time for some things. And I explained that, but it's just like it's a one-way street. She's not giving me everything I need. So it's like, how am I supposed to, understand when you're feeling neglected or depressed and you don't communicate? It's hard to be able to speak about things. So.
That's understandable. So I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm very glad that you're able to talk about your feelings. You're able to acknowledge how you feel, and even sometimes when you might not necessarily be feeling the right thing, you might not react the right way. So what I'd like for you to do in preparation for our next session is to go home and do some homework for me. Okay, what we're going to do is we're gonna assign you a task of cognitive rehearsal.
It's been a while since I had some homework, but okay.
And what that is basically practicing your new positive behaviors. Okay. So the next time, if there is a next time with Angela, instead of glad to hear that, instead of reacting in an aggressive manner, in an upset manner, and cursing at her or yelling at her, what I want you to try to do is maybe just take some time and just talk to her. Don't have to yell.
Okay.
You don't have to throw anything. And this takes practice. So maybe in the morning before you go to work, you wake up and you look in the mirror and you say, you know what, be calm today. Be cool and collected today.
So I'm talking to myself a little bit.
Self-talk. We're going to incorporate self-talk as well as cognitive rehearsal. We're going to make sure that we change these negative thoughts and negative actions into positive thoughts and beliefs and positive actions, okay? So I want you to try that this week.
Okay. Sounds like a lot, but
I believe in you. I believe in you.
I'll give it a shot then, I guess.
Okay, that's all I require is effort. You're paying me by the hour, so I just want to be able to return.
You little hefty little.
I am a little bit hefty, but you know what? We're gonna see through that you get through this problem, okay? Thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate you for coming today. Is there anything, Dr. Abdallah? Is there anything that you'd like to talk to me about? How did the session go for you? How did you feel about it?
I think, for a first day it was pretty good. I don't have any questions right now, but I do feel a little bit more, open, a little bit more relaxed, just about getting, some things off my chest and what I've been subconsciously been thinking about. So other than that,
Okay, and I am on call, so if you have any overwhelming emotions, if you're feeling anxiety, anything, give me a call and we can talk about it. We can arrange something.
You'll get a call or two.
I hope not, but have a good day. Thank you.